Hi, this is Patty again. We're ready to get started on our journey in Google Drive. As you can see on my screen, we are looking at the Kate account, and I can tell it's the Kate account by coming over here and I see the Kate logo. You might see your first initial or another picture that you've actually attached to your account. Up here in the top right, I also see the word Kate. This designates that I am logged into Chrome, and I am logged into Chrome using the Kate account. Logging in and out of Chrome is not really part of Google Drive, but it really is an important part of using Google. We really try to stress this because it is something that is often overlooked. And so you'll notice that if I click on Kate, you can see all these other accounts that I have access to and have logged in and out of. It is a really good idea if you want to use Google Chrome to the fullest to log into Chrome. To do this, when you're first logging in, it's going to ask you to log into Google. Now, if you're on a Chromebook, you're going to automatically log into Chrome. If you're on a computer, you may skip that part of logging into Chrome and just log into Google. And you may be saying to yourself, what's the difference? Well, there is a difference. Logging into Google logs you into your Google accounts. It does not log you into Chrome. Logging into Chrome logs you in not only to Chrome, but also to your Google account. So go ahead and log into Chrome. And the reason you want to do this is it sets up your browser to be customized the way you want it. And when you go from computer to computer and log into Chrome, your Chrome experience will be exactly the same. You'll notice here I have extensions that have been added to the Kate account. There are bookmarks that may have been added. You can see here I've got some things in the bookmark bar. And any of your settings that you've set up for your Chrome account will also come with it. So there's a lot of things that I really like about the fact that when you log into Chrome anywhere, it is the same experience. The one thing you also have to remember is that when you are finished on a computer that you don't use constantly, that is public or shared with other people, you need to log out of Chrome. To do that, you're going to again click on the upper where you see the name, and yours may see your name, you may see your email address. It all depends on how it's set up for your account. And you need to go to Manage People. Now you'll notice all the accounts are here. And to log out of the Kate account, I would hover over the Kate picture and I get these three dots. I would click here and go to remove that remove this person, not that person, and click on it. This is going to tell me it's going to remove this person and it's going to permanently delete almost 600 items that have been put onto this computer by this account. Now, if I don't log out and remove this person, now logging out of Google and logging out of Chrome are not the same. If I don't remove the person from that computer, the next time somebody logs in, they might have access to some of those 599 items on this computer. So in this day of safety, we like to keep our Google accounts and any accounts safe from other people and letting them get to different information that might be on this computer. So again, go ahead and remove this person by hovering over the person's account and then removing this person, or it would actually be your account. Okay, I'm not going to do that because I'm actually using this account, but it's just a tip that I like to start a lot of my trainings with. All right, so what is Google Drive? Google Drive is basically a hard drive. Only the hard drive is not on your computer. It is out there somewhere else where it is housed by Google and it is accessed via the internet. Now, you may be saying to me, what do I do if I don't have internet? Well, we'll get into that a little bit later because there are ways to set up Google Drive so that you can actually access some of your stuff when you're offline. All right, the online hard drive that you have here with Google Drive, it also lets you access the Google applications like Google Docs and Slides and Sheets. One of the things that's really cool for educators is that it is unlimited storage. With a personal account, I believe you get 15 gigabytes. You'll notice down here on my account, I'm at about 67 gigabytes. And so I would be paying if this was my personal account, I would be paying for that extra storage. Whereas a teacher or somebody that works in a school district with an education account, you don't need to worry about your space. And so you can save all this stuff, years of lesson plans, years of documents, all these things that you really want and need access to as you're using Google Drive. And we'll talk about how to get those things off of your computer and into Google Drive in a few minutes. The nice thing about Google Drive is that I can log into Google, I can log into Chrome on any computer, and I get exactly the same experience. So I can access my files, I can leave my computer at work, and I can come home, get on my Chromebook, and access those same files. Or I can get on my personal computer at home and access those same files. And so it really makes for a really true, similar experience. I don't have to think about where is this, where is that. It is right there in front of me as long as I log in. Okay, so another nice thing is when you're creating and doing things in Google Drive, you never have to save anything. It saves automatically, which is a really amazing thing. I don't know how many times I have actually forgotten to save something, and there are recovery programs that you can use, and I know in Windows it will, like if you're using Microsoft Office, you can sometimes get back a version of the document that you were using, and it may or may not be up to date. Well, in Google, it saves every time you make a change, and so there is really no way you're going to really miss out on anything that you made changes to in that document. So how do I get to my Google Drive? Well, there are a number of ways. One is if you're in Chrome, you can open up a new tab, and then you can come over to what we call the waffle. It's actually really called the app switcher, but a lot of people will refer to it as the waffle. You can click here and you can click on the Drive icon, and that will take you automatically to Google Drive. One of the things about this app switcher or waffle is you can move things around and put things in the order. I don't typically use my account very often, so I might put this down here. And I use calendar a lot, so I might put it up at the top. I use slides more than sheets. I use Google Plus a lot. And so you can kind of move things around. And as you scroll down, you'll see that there are different things that are here. Okay. So that is one way to get to Google Drive. Another way is to go to your app switcher, or this is not your app switcher. This is where you show apps that are tied to your Google Chrome account. And so I can click here, and the basic apps that are a part of Google are automatically added to that. And so if you're showing your bookmark bar, this is automatically a part of your bookmark bar. To show it, you would come up here to the three dots, go to bookmarks, and say show bookmarks bar. You don't have to put anything else there, but this will be there, okay? And so it's an easy way to get to these apps, and I think you may have to add Classroom to it, but I'm not positive. But it also takes you to something called the Web Store. And the Web Store is where you go to add apps to your Chrome account and to add extensions. And if you're taking the Google Chrome class with Ginny, you'll talk all about how to add these. So I'm not going to go into that except to show you that they're there. Okay? All right, so I'm going to close that. That's another way to get there. In a new tab, I can also start by typing drive.google.com. Anything Google is going to start with the name of the app and be .google.com. And so if I'm looking for docs, I can go to docs.google.com. If I want to go into slides, I can type slides.google.com. If I want to go into sites, I can type sites.google.com. And the same thing works with Drive. So it's drive.google.com. Notice I've been there before, so it kind of defaults to its full thing. And so when I hit enter, it's going to actually bring up the Google Drive. It's going to be the same one I already have open, so I'm going to go ahead and close that. Okay? All right, so we know how to access it. Okay, I'm in Google Drive and I need to change my settings. If I go up here to the three dots and I click and I go to settings, those are my Chrome settings, my Google Chrome settings. So I'm not going to go there. I'm going to come down here to the little cogwheel or the gear, and I'm going to click here and go to settings. When I go here, you'll notice that it tells me again how much I have stored on Google Drive. You don't have to worry about this. If you want to convert everything that you upload that is in another format that can be converted to a Google format, for example, a Microsoft Word document, if you want to automatically convert that to Google Docs, you would click here. Or an Excel spreadsheet to Sheets, you would click here. Most people don't like to do that because they like to keep their original. So what you do is you don't click that, you upload your, let's say Microsoft Word, not Docs, Microsoft Word document, and then when you open it in Google Drive, you can convert it there. That way in Google Drive, you keep both documents, your original Word document, and then your modified Google Doc, okay? Next one is change the language settings. This will change it for your entire Google experience. And so if you want everything to be in Spanish, you can change your language settings for everything you do in Google to actually be in Spanish. All right, the next thing here is this offline sync. We're going to talk about this. This is the thing that you need to do in order to use Google offline. So we'll come back to that. Density, it's just how your stuff appears on the screen, whether you want it to be comfortable to look at, or if you're using a smaller screen, more compact. So you've got three options, and you can play with these different things to see which one works for you. The quick access on your Google Drive, quick access will put across the top, when you go to My Drive, it will put some files up there that you have recently accessed so that you have quick access to it. I don't show mine. I'm just, I tend to star my items that I need quick access to, and sometimes there's more than 3 or 4, so it just works better for me. But I've tried it, and I would go ahead, and for you can go ahead and set that up. It is the default now, and it is a new update to Google Drive. So if you're seeing those things across the top and you don't like them there, you can come here and remove the check mark. Over on the left, you'll notice we've just gone through the general settings. The next thing down is notifications. This is going to email me, or it's going to, in my browser, show me updates to Google Drive. And I have the bottom one selected. I don't get really any emails about updates to Google Drive very often, so I've gone ahead and let that be there. Under Manage Apps, these are apps that are attached to either Google Drive, or they may be attached to Docs, Sheets, or Forms. And so some of these things, this is where you can actually delete them. This is where you can change them. I don't think they're going to let you delete Google Docs, but you can view the product page. But if I was to come up here to Awesome Table, I can disconnect this from my Google Drive. And so you've got some options here as far as that. When you disconnect it, you're basically deleting it. So there's not much attached to this account, but on my personal account, there's quite a few things. And sometimes I add them just to kind of see what they're about. And I really need to go in and take some of them off. If you want to use this by default, you can go ahead and click here. They're available within all these, are for Docs or Forms or Sheets, and I can just access them through the add-ons there. So I'm going to click Done, and that's it as far as the settings. You'll notice up in the upper left-hand corner under our little icon here, and yours probably says something else because you're not a Murray State account, or you might be. Under there is the big blue button, and it says New. On this, if I click it, this is where I'm going to create new things. Use the word new to remember that this is where you create new stuff. So if I want to create a new folder, I'm going to click here. When I click, it's going to pop up this new window, and it's going to ask me to name my folder. And so I would go ahead and type the name. And so I'm going to type this in and say it's I'm going to call it Oh My for our class. And I'm going to click Create. And then it's going to take me to where that is and highlight it in blue. Now if I click on a different folder, it's actually going to highlight that in blue. But at least it shows me where it is. If I wanted to put another folder inside of there, make sure you got it open. So I'm actually gone from My Drive and open Oh My. And I could go to New Folder and let's say call this Week 1 and create it, and so on and so forth. And in Week 1, I might want to put some files. And so if I want to create a doc that is going to be in Week 1, I can either create it in my drive and then move it to Week 1, or I can go all the way through here and go to Week 1, go to New, go to Google Doc. It will open a new one. There it is. See, once you title it, it is in your Week 1 folder. And so you don't have to move it. You could, in your Google Doc, go to the folder and actually move it there, or go back to Google Drive and move it, but this saves that step. So it's something that you could try doing. All right. So if I want to go from Week 1 back to My Drive, I've got a couple options. I can click here on My Drive, or I can come over here. So I'm going to click on My Drive here, and I'm back to where I started. Under New, I also have File Upload. And so if I want to bring files from my computer's hard drive, I click here, and it's going to, and I'm on a Mac, it's going to bring up my Finder. For you in Windows, it's going to bring up your Windows Explorer. And so you can look through and find whatever it is that you want to upload, and you can click on it, and you can say Open. And so it's uploading that video. And so when it's finished, it's going to be a part of my Google Drive. Okay, so very easy. And if I had wanted it in a folder, I would have gone to that folder first. So, all right, another thing under here is folder upload. Same idea, but you have to actually upload an entire folder. So if I go to maybe in Documents, I have a folder that says AUP. If I clicked on that, clicked upload, it would upload that entire folder. So I don't have to do it file by file. I can do the entire folder. Now again, remember this is coming from my hard drive. Okay? All right, we are going to cancel that. All right, another thing under New, I've already created a new Google Doc, but I wanted to show you the arrow to the right allows me to choose between a blank document or creating one from a template. If I just click on Google Docs here, it's going to automatically create a blank document. But From Template is going to open the templates that are available for Google Docs. And some of those are Murray State accessible, so therefore our domain. Some of yours may be there for your domain. And so you'll see that there are some things like a template for like a memo that are put in here, and then CDI has put something in here for them to be able to access. And you can come over here and submit a template, and it will be added here. I'm not sure, since I've not done this yet, whether Murray State or your domain administrator actually has to approve that or not. I'm thinking they don't, but it may be a possibility. If I go back to General, though, you'll notice that I see templates for a lot of different things. And because they know we're an education account, the education templates are first. Also, we have sheets, we have slides, and if I hover over more, I have forms, drawings, my maps, and sites. All of these things are standard in your Google Drive menu, okay? Now you can connect more apps. It's kind of like those apps that I showed you earlier. You can connect more apps. Some apps work with Google Drive. If you connect them, they will allow you to actually save your product to Google Drive from their application online. I'm pretty sure that like WeVideo does this. I'm not sure if Edpuzzle does that or not, but there are applications that will allow you, when you create something, to actually save it automatically to Google Drive, so which is really nice. And so the one thing that's fairly new is that Google Sites is accessible through here. It used to be the old Google Sites was accessible only separately. You had to actually go to the website through a tab. But the new Google Sites you can create, and it's stored right here on your Google Drive. Now this two-step verification video has uploaded, so I'm going to close that. And so that's all that there is with the big blue button. All right. So we are going to now go to what else is on here under My Drive. Now when I click on My Drive, obviously I'm going to go to seeing everything that is at that bottom level, my home of Google Drive. All right. Now I'm looking at it in list view. You can also come up here and change it to grid view. This is typically the way I work with it, but a lot of people like it in the other view. Notice you'll see all of your folders first. You can color code your folders, and we'll look at that in a few minutes. You can share a folder. That's what this little icon with the little head in it shows. And then I can come down here and see different files that have not actually been filed. Okay, so it's like this whole pile of documents sitting next to your filing cabinet that need to be put somewhere. And I need to someday sit down and actually do some filing. So, all right. We'll go back to the list view and I'll show you the difference. The list view shows you your folders first, same as the other one. Still shows you that it's shared. Tells you who the owner is. And remember that I am logged in as Kate, so these belong to Kate. If you look down here, there is a folder that was shared by someone else, and it is still in my drive because it's been shared with me. And as I scroll down, you'll notice that when I get to documents, folders don't have a size, but files do. Anything that is created in Google, whether it's a Google Doc, a Google Slide, a Google Form, or a site, does not have a file size. And so if I look down here, I see all these PDFs. They all have a size to them. So they're part of my 67 gigabytes that is being used. But if I come down a little farther, this actual document, which was shared with me by somebody else, has no size because it is a Google Doc. And you can tell when your files are actually shared with somebody by seeing the two people side by side here. Notice that if I go to the grid view and I look at these same files, I don't know which ones are shared. And that's why a lot of people will actually use the list view. All right, so we come down here a little farther and we see more and more files that are actually Google files. And so this is a Google drawing. This is a doc, a sheet, and this is actually a Google site that was created by Ginny. And again, it has no size. So it's a website that doesn't cost you any of your Google Drive space. Now, this is not really important if you're using an education account, but think of this as my personal account. If I'm working and creating everything in Google using their applications, I'm not going to have to pay for that space, which is pretty awesome. Okay, so this is a movie. It is 79 megabytes and so on and so forth. Okay, all right. This is My Drive. Underneath this is Team Drives. We'll talk about that next week. It is something that is new and pretty amazing. One of the reasons it was developed is because, especially in businesses and education where you're working with groups of people, there will be files and things that are developed by your team or the people that you work with. And then when they leave and their account was deleted, their stuff was deleted as well. So even if it was shared with you, it would go away. Now you can change ownership of documents, but sometimes if you've worked there for a while, it's hard to find all those documents and actually change them. So they created team drives to actually give a team or a group like Kate a space to put and actually create folders and actually other team drives. They're actually individual and you can name them by different things. And I guess, we'll talk about this later, but let's say I was to leave. Maybe I'm retiring. My account gets deleted. All of my documents that I've put in the team drive stay. They don't belong to me anymore. Once I put them in the team drive, they belong to the team. And so it'll stay there as long as the team exists. All right, coming down, this computers, this has got to do with some changes that Google is doing with backing up computers and your Google Drive and everything. I will again look at that next week. I think it has not been rolled out for the education and business accounts yet. It has been rolled out for the personal accounts. It's called backup and sync, I think. And so again, we'll talk about that next week. So we're going to skip over those two things. All right, when you come to shared with me, if I click on this, immediately when somebody shares something with me, it goes right here. Now I can leave it there, or I can actually add it to my Google Drive. But remember, these are they all belong to somebody else. And so if I was to leave, there are accounts that are saved here, or files that are saved here, they will actually go away. And so let's say that I want to take this thing that Jennifer put up here. I can right click on it and I can say, it says add to my drive. And so if I click this, it's going to give me, it actually put it there. Now I can actually organize it and say, oh, I need to put it in X folder. And so it doesn't delete it from here under shared with me because it still is not my file. And so it stays there. And the same with the folders. That's shared with me. Again, a lot of people, when they share things, they will email you and say, I've shared this with you. It will give you a link. That link will take you to that file, but you can also get to it from here in shared with me. Recent shows you things that you've either recently created, recently uploaded, or recently opened. Okay, so I recently uploaded this MP4 file, and so it's at the top. We just created this outline document right here, and so it is there. And then everything else, notice it says earlier this year, and it goes back to just a few days ago, and it shows different things that are in here. And so I can look through and find things, and it will just keep going and going. Now this is the Kate account, and so we don't use it as much as I use my personal account. I would not use my personal account to find anything recent past about a week, because anything that's in the recent after that, there's way too much stuff. Even within a week, there may be too much stuff. And the better thing to do may be to come up here and actually search Google Drive. Okay, we'll talk about that in a minute. All right, Google Photos we're going to skip. Starred is where I put things that I am working with currently and I need quick access to. So for example, if I want this Hello Caldwell, if I don't want this anymore, I can right click on it and say remove the star, and it is removed out of this area. Think of these as shortcuts. They are not the actual files. They are shortcuts to those files. And so when I remove the star, it doesn't remove the file. It just takes it out of the starred area here. And so if I wanted to add something, I could go back to my drive and I could find, let's see, that outline thing that I just did. Where is that? It's down below. It's not there. Oh, I put it in a folder, didn't I? Let's say we go to recent and we find it, okay? So if I wanted to, I could add a star. And it shows the star next to it. And I can go to starred, and there it is. It is not gone from recent, and it would not be gone if I actually went to that folder. It would not be gone from there either. So that's starred. I like to use it, and I'm using it more and more. The last thing on here is your trash. Anything that you put in here typically goes away within about 30 days. But I'm seeing things, well, I'm seeing things that were back to June and March. And so possibly in a education account, it doesn't go away. If it is a personal account, supposedly if you put it in the trash, within 30 days, Google will delete it. And so it's a good place to, if you want to delete it, that's fine. But if you all of a sudden you've deleted it and you think, oh my gosh, I really need that file, you can come back to trash and actually find it again. Notice up here, I can see things that were deleted from my drive as well as the Kate. This would be my team drive. It's showing me that there's nothing there. So if I go back to my drive, I can actually come up here to empty the trash if I want to, or I can right click and restore something that is on here. So, and all I'm seeing looks like all of these are from training, so I can just come up here and empty the trash, and it warns us that this cannot be undone. And so as soon as I click empty trash, everything is gone and there's no way to get it back. Okay, so be careful when you empty. In a personal account, it's probably more important that you empty your trash and get rid of those things that you don't need because of your limited space. In your teacher account, it's not as, you really don't have to empty your trash, but you know, you might want to go ahead and do it. Okay, let's go back to my drive and right clicking. If I right click on a folder, it's going to give me all these options. And when it says open with, there's really nothing I can open a folder with besides just opening it by double clicking on it. But I can share the folder from here. If I click share, it's going to open up my box. And this looks the same as it would if I did it in a document as well. And so I can email people. And if I start typing Ginny's email, I can say, you know, at her, I can start adding Jennifer's email, and I can keep adding people that I want to add. It will start suggesting people that I use or access a lot. I can also change their rights on the file. I can let them, and since this is a folder, I can let them organize, add, and edit, or I can just let them see what's in the folder. When you share a folder and give people access to it, they have access to anything that you put in that folder. And so you not only get to organize, add, and edit things to the folder, you get to organize, add, and edit the documents and anything else that's in there. So you can add a note to it because it's going to email people. If I don't want it to email people, I can uncheck this, but I don't know why you wouldn't want to notify people, so I always leave that checked. And then you can click send. If I come up here, I can get a shareable link. This will be a link that I can email out to people. I can put into a document. And so notice I have different rights here. Here it says anybody at Murray State with the link can view it. And so when you're in an education institution and you're part of Google G Suites for Education, you have your domain in here and you can limit things to your domain. So I can let anybody at Murray State edit this or anybody at Murray State view this, but I can hover and click on more. I can make something public. And this is the one I typically do. If I'm sharing something out at a training or something, I will say anybody I give this link to can actually, you know, get to the document. And so there's no logging in or anything else. They can get to the document. Notice down here though, I can change what they can do with the document. And so I can give them the same rights that I gave to Jennifer and Ginny earlier, okay? And so it's not just that I'm giving them the link, I can control what they do with that link as well. So I'm going to cancel that. I'm going to cancel this as well. Oh, down here at the bottom in advanced, this is where I can go and see who it's shared with. This is who I'm inviting, and I can, or, you know, I'm not going to actually do that, but I can also change these owner settings. Since this is mine and it belongs to my account, I can prevent my editors sharing and changing access to this folder if I click this. And so that retains some of my rights over top of the people that it's shared with, which is kind of nice. I'm going to go ahead and cancel this here. I'm going to say I'm done here, and we're going to continue down. So if I go down to a file, I can do the same thing. I can right click on something. Let me find something here that I can do this with. Okay, we'll do right click. Oh, that's already shared. A lot of things shared in here. I don't want a folder. And this is a PowerPoint. We'll look at that in a minute. Okay, this is a Google Doc. it is starred, so it's in the starred area. But if I right click on this, I can go to share, and notice it looks exactly the same. The only thing that's going to be different are your rights, and so they can edit, comment, and view, because this is a document, not a folder. And if I was to get a shareable link, those are the same things that I can actually give anybody that I give the shareable link to. Now if I change this, like I did before, to anybody with the link, again, I can give them view, it defaults to view. I can give them edit, comment, or viewing rights. And my, let's say I say that, and I say save. I still have advanced down here, and so it's going to say I've got the same things here, but I've got two things that I can change in my owner settings. One is prevent the editors from changing the access and adding new people, same as it was kind of before. And I can also disable the options to download, print, and copy for anybody that only has commenting and viewer rights. This way you can put something on social media, let people view it, but they can't make it theirs by making a copy of it, and they actually can't even print it out. They can't download it, they can't do anything with it. They can just view it. So some people really, that do a lot of stuff on social media, they do create documents, and they do check this, because I've tried to make copies of things before just so that I could have it in my Google Drive, not so I could copy their work. I always give credit when I'm using somebody else's work, but just so I had access to it quickly. And so what I do in a lot of those cases is I bookmark those things, and I can still get back to that file, but and then read it again if I want to, but I can't change it. Okay? All right, going down the menu, I'm going to right click again. Preview on a document wasn't there on a folder, and so when I click on preview, it's going to show me what it looks like. Now in a Google Doc, it's going to default to opening it with Google Docs, and there are no other connected apps. If I go find that, where was that PowerPoint? And I think it was up here. Okay, this is a PowerPoint file. I can right click on it and I can say preview. Okay, so if I open up a PowerPoint file, I can actually see the actual PowerPoint. Okay, now when I hover down here, it's saying that I'm looking at page 1 of 4. And when I come up here, my default is to open it with Google Slides. If I had something else that would open a PowerPoint, it would show up here too. But I can now, this is already on my Google Drive, I can say open this with Google Slides, and it has now converted it to actually be a Google Slides presentation. It keeps the exact same name, it keeps the exact .pptx, and I can just delete that if I don't want that to show. And I now have a Google Slide presentation from my PowerPoint. Really easy, okay? I just wanted to quickly show you how that works. And so, all right, so let's right click on here and look at these other things. The open with is going to give you your options. The shareable link is going to be exactly like when you did share, but it's only going to let you get a link. Moving to allows you to move it to someplace on your drive. It's going to give me a list of all of my folders. I can decide where it needs to go, choose that folder, and then click move. Or if I can't find the folder I want, or it needs a new folder, I can create a new folder here. So I'm not actually going to move that. Again, right clicking on a file. I can add a star. We looked at that earlier. I can rename the file. I can view the details. Now the details, if I click on that, are over here on the right. It's going to tell me who has edited this, who it's shared with, different things like that. That's actually, this is the activity. The details would be a little kind of a preview of that document. Tells you how much storage space it's taking, where it is stored, when it was created, when it was last open, and so on. You can actually add a description to this if you want to. So if your document is a shared document, as this is, you will actually see all the different things that everybody has made as far as changes. You could actually click on that, okay? All right, I'm going to close that. And back to here, you can make a copy. And if it's in your drive, making a copy What I do is I a lot of times make a master copy of things I share out at trainings, and then I will go make a copy and rename it for the training I'm doing. For example, if I'm going to Mayfield, which I'm going to next week, I would make a copy and I would name it Mayfield and whatever the name is. And that way I have quick access to it, but it's not, the teachers aren't working with my original. And then next time I do training, which might be in Callaway, I can name it, make a copy of it again, and then name it Callaway and the name of the file. So it really makes it nice. You can have a master and every year just make a copy of that actual file. You can also download a file, and when you download, it's going to convert it, if it can, to whatever file is readable by your hard drive. And in this case, it took my Google Slides presentation and just created a PowerPoint from it. Okay? If it was a document and I right-clicked and said download, where did it go? It converted it to Word. Okay? Now, if you're actually in the document, like if I'm in Outline, I can go to File and Download As, and I've got a lot of different choices, including Word, but I like sometimes to save it as a PDF so that when I share it out, it's not taking up a lot of space. But you can also make it an EPUB, which is viewable on a lot of e-book readers, stuff like that. All right, on my right click, the only last thing I have is to remove, which puts it in the trash. The other way to put it in the trash would be to actually drag it and dump it into the trash. So that works as well. One of the neat things that I can do, and I'm going to go to recent, is you can play any video pretty much. I'm going to say pretty much because I don't know if there's one that won't. But I know that I had a file that was created in Windows Movie Maker. And since I have a Mac, there was nothing on my Mac that would open it. And so I was going to have to convert it to an MP3 or something else. And I just happened to think that, what if I uploaded it to my Google Drive? Would it play? And it did. So I just uploaded a video. It's an MP4, and I know that that will play. But it's going to go ahead and load it, and it's going to go ahead and start playing that video. So this is an easy way to actually show videos to your kids and not have to put them anywhere else. You can put them on Google Drive and play them from there. So it's an option. You can download YouTube videos, put it in Google Drive, and then share it through Google Classroom as well. And they can access it from Google Drive. All right, let me go back. All right, finding files in Google Drive. If you happen to know where it's at, you put it in a certain folder. It makes it easy. But if you're like me and you forget where you put it, you can come up here to Search Drive. And remember that Google started as a search engine. It still is a search engine. And so the search engine techniques apply to Google Drive. So when I click Search Drive, not only do I get to search by keywords or the name of the file or that, I can also do the type of file that I'm looking for. And so if I click on video, it's going to pull up all the videos that are on Google Drive. Now, if I have a lot of them, I can come after it and I can say, I want one that is on calendar, and I can press enter, and it's going to bring up 3 videos that are named calendar. Now, if it's a doc that I'm searching for, and I'm going to click the X here, I'm going to go back to a text document or a Google Doc. It's going to bring them all up. But let's say I want calendar. I can type in the same thing. I'm getting some Word documents, and I'm getting some things that don't even have necessarily calendar in it, like Educate Academy, Google Level 1 Outline. Doesn't have the word calendar in it, but the word calendar is probably in that document. So they not only search the titles, but it searches within the documents for what you're trying to find. So let me X that again. And let's say I'm not sure exactly what I want, or I want, let's say, a Google form. That's not listed here. I can click more search tools, and then I get some other options. So the type, when I click on it, I now have access to forms. I now can look for an audio file. I can look for a zip file. I can look for a Google Drawings, or I can actually search for a folder. So you get some different options here when you actually do this. Let's say that I'm looking for a drawing, and I know that a certain person created it. And so I can say specific person, and then over here to the right, I can type in, and as soon as I start typing it, it knows that Missy is the one I'm looking for. I don't know where it's located, so I'm going to leave it as anywhere. I could, if I knew it was starred or in the trash, I might have looked there first, but I can push my search to just be in those places. And then I can look, if I know when it was modified. A lot of these things you're not going to know. But if you know the actual name of the file or words that are in the file, you can come in here and actually add those in as well. Let me search with just what I have, and it didn't find anything. Now, the actual folders that are in here that are drawings, or files that are in here that are drawings, may not have been created by Missy. They may have been created by somebody else. So, but it shows you, this is actually what you could actually type in, the owner, colon, put their email address, space, type, colon, and the type of file that you're looking for. It's a whole lot easier to just do it the other way. So, but before it had all this, which has not been that long ago, that's the way you did it, was by putting in those search things that it would actually narrow down your search for you. So, all right, we've looked at a lot of different things in the basics of Google Drive. One of the things I wanted to show you is that if I go to My Drive and I click on a file, where am I here? Say I click on here, notice that I was right-clicking and getting a lot of these same things. But all I have, if I like it this way, I can click on it and come up here and I can get a shareable link. I can share it with people. I can preview it. I can throw it in the trash. Or if I click on the three dots, I can see basically everything else that I saw when I right-clicked on it. Okay? So those things are available as well. If I click on a folder, I get pretty much the same things. Shareable link, share with someone, remove it, delete it, and then more actions show me the other options that I would get if I was to right click here. So I wanted to show you those as well. All right, are you overwhelmed yet? The nice thing about video is you can go back and look at it again and watch the parts that you need. So I may try to go through this. It may not be done on Tuesday, but I think I'm going to try to go through this, and on YouTube I can kind of bookmark different spots in it. So I'll bookmark the different areas so that you can actually go through and just watch the parts that you need to watch again. So that's coming up. I'll show you how to do that next time too. All right, that's it for this lesson. Now, need to talk a little bit about your assignment. Your assignment is going to be to create a little tutorial, cheat sheet, something like that on some part of Google Drive. Now, you can create this any way you want to. You can create a screencast. You can create a Google Doc. You can create a Google Drawing. You can create a slide presentation. But think of it as something that you would actually use either with your students, with other teachers. Let's say you have an assignment where you want your students to create a shared folder. Create a little tutorial somehow on how to do that. Okay, so it would be step by step, and once you're done with it, let's say it's a Google Doc, you're going to go to that Google Doc and you're going to share it. Now, sharing in Google Docs is the same as sharing in Google Drive. So I'm going to click on here. It looks exactly the same. I want you to then get a shareable link. Now, if you create a video, you're going to you have two options. You can upload it to your YouTube channel. Every Gmail account or Google account has a YouTube channel, and then you can get the link and put it in the comments under the assignment. Otherwise, if it's a Google document, you can get the shareable link and just give them commenting rights. Okay? Now they can still, unless you come down here and change it with advanced, they can still make a copy of that. But one of my goals for this class is that we share things, and that way if somebody shares something you think you can use or you can modify and use it, you can make a copy of it, and when you are done with this 3 weeks of class, you'll have some great resources that you can use in your classroom. Not only will you have it, but everybody in the classroom will have it. So, so when you get your shareable link, you got to change this from anyone at Murray State or your school. Go to more and say anybody with this link can comment. Click save, and then you can copy the link. Don't shorten it. If you shorten it with a URL shortener, it's not going to work in Google Classroom. And so when you actually go to Classroom, and I don't think I can, yeah, I can get to Classroom from here because I actually made Kate a member of our class. And so this is our class. And so I'm going to click here. And if the assignment were here, I would click here to add a class comment. And I would click and I would write a little bit about what I did. It only has to be a sentence or two, and then paste in that link. This is the best way for other people to be able to see what you've done. Typically in Google Classroom, when you turn in an assignment, and this is kind of the assignment, you would actually only, when you turn it in, I could see it and you could see it, and not anybody else. I have one person that's done here, or that has made it done. I actually have more, but you have to go in as a student and say, mark this as done, okay? In order for me to see that it's done if it's not something you're turning in. And in Flipgrid, you don't turn it in. So that's there as well. If you don't turn it in, that's fine. This is not something that's going to be graded. We're not grading anything. So I'm not worried about that. I will look at if you're wanting the PD credit or you're wanting the ELA credit, I will be looking and making sure that you have participated in every way that you can. You don't have to go, full out and do 100 comments on, 100 students, which we don't have 100 students this time. But you will be able to at least make an effort in each assignment and each thing that we're doing. Okay, so if there's an actual discussion that I put out there, say something. If there is the Flipgrid out there, go ahead and record the Flipgrid. If I give you 2 minutes, it doesn't mean that you have to use all 2 minutes. It just, for those of you that like to be wordy, you can use the entire 2 minutes. If you want to use 30 seconds, that's fine too. So that's it for this week. Look on Classroom I won't put things up a lot. I will be sharing a lot of resources that I've created in with your assignment, which I'll be posting along with this video. So check those out as well. You're welcome to make copies of those. Some of them are little cheat sheets. Some of them are, were made in Google Drawings. So please go ahead and make a copy of them. One of those will be on how to share a document, okay? And so you'll be good to go there. I hope you learned a lot from this video. If you have questions, feel free to also post those in the comments. And I may actually make another section for some comments as well, so that you can actually get some feedback and learn from, what it is you didn't understand. That's what we're here for. So, all right, get going on your assignment when you have time. This is not a time deal. You don't have to turn it in on time. If you do turn it in on time, that's great. If you do it next week and do both assignments next week, that's fine too, okay? This is do as you can. But again, for PD credit, you will have to have them done within a week of the class ending, okay? So I'll give you that extra week, but I'm going to have to move on into the next class. So, all right, have a great week, and I'll see you next week.